What's crackin' crack-a-lackin'
I
internet?
hate
It's
you.
Sayrebort Jr.
I don't really hate you.
Uh, this is Sayrebort Jr. and I'm one of your co-hosts, Zach Sarowick.
And I'm your other co-host, Dale Decker. And for some
Uh,
reason, I'm gonna go back to crackin' crack-a-lackin'. But for some reason, when you were like, I'm one of your co-hosts, I thought you said I wanna be one of your co-hosts. And I was like, Zach, we've been doing this for a year.
I want to be one of your co-hosts. That's their new. It's a new thing. We're a new prize we're trying out. It's a raffle. Someone gets a co-host for a day.
For a day. Yeah, I'm okay with that. We can do that.
That was by the way, that was exactly the response I wanted when I said crackin' crack-a-lackin'. It was either that or I wanted you to laugh so hard you couldn't talk. It was one of those two.
I was so
Considering you
proud
made
of myself.
you made yourself crack up for so long with that.
I was so proud of myself. For anybody who doesn't know, backstory time. Finally, Zach and I have met in person, which is crazy.
Oh, that wasn't even like the part we were getting at. It was to be like, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
no.
what we did Sunday. I
But
forgot
this
the
is what
part
we
where
did
we also met in the human space.
in the human space, in the world that we exist. No, so we played like how many ever?
12.
12
Well,
hours
yes.
of Kingdom Hearts 3. And there was a point where I don't know if I was like hyped up on sugar or just really, really tired or really, really cold. I don't know what was going on, but we were going into the Pirates of the Caribbean is in Kingdom Hearts 3. Spoilers. They show that. They
It's
definitely
a
show
return.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a return from Kingdom Hearts 2. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
So it shows up in Kingdom Hearts 3 and there's like a little kraken around the around
the little
the
planet.
planet. And I was like, hey, what's cracking? Wait, no, cracking, crack-a-lackin' or whatever, something like that. It's on the stream. And then I proceeded to laugh for like 20 minutes.
What's great about it is that I hope the mic picked it up because none of the four of us sitting around you picked it up. We did this stream. It was
Yeah,
myself
no.
and Dale and Devin, and then Dale's friends Joe and Liz.
Yep.
We're all with us doing this, and I don't think any of the other four of us heard you say this thing.
No.
You just started laughing, and then it was like it like clicked in one of our heads. That was like. Did you just say what I think you just said?
Yeah.
And you couldn't respond.
Yeah. It was awesome. That's like the majority of not the majority of my jokes, but a lot of like my really like good jokes in my head come from me saying them under my breath, laughing uncontrollably, and then someone being like, "What did you just do?" And then I need to explain it, and that explanation makes me laugh for 10 more minutes. It's great. I've gotten some of the best laughs of my life out of that. So yeah, you should go check out that stream. I believe it's still up. It's on the Say Report on Twitch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if I would say, I mean, it's a 12-hour stream. I don't know who's
Yeah.
going to sit there for 12
You
hours
can
and watch
skip
it, but
around.
definitely skip around. I especially encourage you to find the Toy Story world where Devin started playing, and I swear to God, it was like he was handed a Nintendo for the first time. He was so excited to be jumping from mech toy to mech
Oh
toys
god.
and
I
playing with Buzz and Woody.
I really did not expect to love Kingdom Hearts 3 as much as I did. But I loved every second of it. Oh man. Crazy.
But other than that, how have you been? Because I know you have been unwell
Oh
for a
yeah.
little bit.
I've just been a little unwell. Um, yeah, so the reason why we are like 2 weeks, we haven't recorded in a week, is last week I got the flu. Yeah, that was fun.
Yay.
It was actually, it was really weird, because I never like even explained it to you. We were just like, hey, yeah, by the way, flu, whatever. I didn't, like, I thought I had allergies. This is how far removed from like flu symptoms I was when I went to the urgent care. The night before I went on Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday night. So an entire week ago, I had like a stuffy nose and I thought it was just from cold, like being cold, and being in like dry areas. So I was like, okay, that makes sense, whatever. And then I woke up the next day with the stuffy nose. I was like, okay, fine, that's normal, right? Okay, it's cold out. And then on the drive to work, my eyes started to water uncontrollably, and I could barely see on my commute to work. So I'm like, this is weird.
That seems
This
dangerous.
Yeah,
That seems...
it was really not good. I probably should have turned around right then and there, but I again just like attribute it to allergies. And which again is weird because I don't usually get allergies like that. So I was like, it's got to be allergies. Like there's nothing. I haven't been near anyone who is sick that I know of. Like whatever. So then around like 12:30 on Wednesday, it got to the point where I was freezing and my eyes were just like nonstop watering. It was like I was just walking around at work crying my eyes out. And I was like, I should probably leave and maybe see a doctor.
I just love work so much,
Yeah,
which
I just
itself sounds like a sickness. Like you should leave if you love work so much you're walking around crying at
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You clearly something's going on there that you need to talk to somebody about, or with. And so I went to the urgent care and I was like, yeah, this is weird. I'm like watering and my nose is kind of stuffy. And they were prepared to give me just like sinus infection stuff or sinus medicine. And then right as she was about to leave the room, she was like, let me just ask you this. Have you been cold? Like, have you gotten chills or a fever or anything? I'm like, well, actually, now that you mention it, earlier today, I got way colder than I should have inside of a building. And she was like, I'm going to check you for the flu then. And she left, checked me for the flu, and I had the flu. But it was so close to her not even checking me for it that it could have been way worse than it was. So yay for doctors.
Yeah, nothing like go home thinking you have nothing and then wake up in the middle of the night
Yeah.
with just all of your insides burning from fever.
Yep. Yeah. So I like consider it like a very lucky find, and I was like super like found it super early, and yeah, it was good. So everybody, if you think you're sick, just go to urgent care, please, please. Just they help. They're nice. They try to be nice. I hope they're nice. The people we go to are really really nice.
They're
Um.
probably tired and exhausted from dealing with a lot of people, so give them a little bit of a break. But
Yes,
definitely be like,
exactly.
it's flu season. I'm worried. Just test me and check
Yeah.
it,
Yep.
please.
Yeah. And it's if a doctor tells you no, get a better one
I was gonna say more than likely.
because
I mean, and there's no doctor that's gonna look at you like you're crazy because you wanted to make sure you weren't like
yeah.
overly sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
But it just felt like I had a really bad cold. And she was like, "It's really good that you came in because some people wait 4 days into the flu to
hmm
eventually come in." And I'm like, "That's insane. That is
yeah,
so
yeah.
insane
I
to
knew
me."
someone once that tried to like fight it out themselves. They were like, "We're just taking some ibuprofen at home, just keep my fever down, and I'll sleep through it." And like 2 or 3 days later, it was like, "You have no fluids in your body. You're
Yeah.
going to a hospital."
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so
So
flu season, don't mess around with it. That's my PSA for the episode. On happier notes, I have a lot of like media to talk about
cool.
for shows and movies.
Well then, I have almost nothing because I've done very little besides play a lot of Kingdom Hearts. So
Okay.
very quickly, has this. You're gonna backload the whole episode for us with
Oh,
all of your cool
oh
television.
gosh. All
Um,
of my like sick downward spiral of television.
yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's kind of what I do, but that's just my norm. Like I went back and I'm watching One Tree Hill again with a friend, which I think I've mentioned before is one of my favorite like teen dramas. But
Yeah.
we're watching like the first season, and it's so funny because like I mean, a lot of shows did this, but um, Riverdale
Mm,
is like
I
so
love
over the
watching that.
top and over dramatic, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything from the get go, from like episode one, you got people sleeping with teachers and kids are dying and all of this stuff, right? And it's so funny to go back and watch. I think so much of Riverdale is based on the idea of what teen dramas became in their later seasons, especially like the early 2000s and like late 90s ones, like Dawson's Creek. started out pretty normal, and then there's definitely an episode that's just a non-canonical murder mystery
Oh,
episode somewhere in there,
you need
which
to
is what.
have one.
Right. And like so like One Tree Hill, we're watching this and I can't help but laugh because the entire first season is just straight regular drama of like for people that don't know, this is where Chad Michael Murray became like super big. And so people who it's like it's basically the book East of Eden by John Steinbeck, but it takes place in North Carolina, early
Oh,
2000s North
jeez.
Carolina town where you've got these two half brothers because Chad Michael Murray's mom had him when she was like just coming out of high school, and the dad left to go to college on like a huge basketball scholarship, and then got an injury and ended up having a whole other family, and now makes his what he considers his legitimate son play
Oh my
basketball all
god.
the time. And so Chad Michael Murray joins the basketball team with his half brother that they fight about. Like they're not supposed to really like each other and all this other stuff. It's super super drama, but it's all like regular drama. It's not till like season 9 that you get like people are like sleepwalking in fugue states and people are being
Jeez.
kidnapped by Russians and
What?
movies are being made about their lives. Yeah, it goes wild toward the end.
Wow.
but but it's so funny to like watch that show and be like, "Oh, I think Riverdale didn't realize, and people today don't realize that these shows started out as like fairly like soap opera, like primetime soap operas.
Oh
They
yeah.
didn't start out from the jump with the dead bodies and the
Yeah.
kidnappings.
Well, yeah, and it's now you need there's so much competition that you need something like super impacting in that first like 10 minutes of your show, or else someone will people will just move on to the next one.
That's so true, and it's
Like,
so funny because we were watching an episode where the entire point, like all the conflict in an episode, literally comes from everybody's trying to do the right thing, and the right thing just happened to make someone else upset. Like
yeah,
how that's the whole conflict. There's like
yeah,
three different storylines, and all three of those storylines are, oh, I tried to do the right thing, and it pissed off this other person,
yeah,
so now I have to go apologize.
yeah. It's crazy, like, because everything is just on and everything is just available. So if you don't catch me in that cold opening, if you don't catch me, next please,
The best
taken
thing
out
is
of
though,
my list.
here's the thing though.
Yeah, out of my queue.
You want to
Like,
know what catches you for One Tree Hill though? Is that every episode, of course, with the theme song, because this is back when there were still openings to TV shows. So what you get
miss those days.
is a beautiful, very 2000s, like, uh, photoshoppy image of a bridge in this town with
Oh
Chad Michael
gosh.
Murray in his emo hoodie, bouncing a basketball across it, and Gavin DeGraw's "I
Oh.
Don't Want to Be." I don't want to be anything song, whatever that's called. That's the theme song. And so
I don't wanna be anything other
every
than.
episode
Oh.
starts with that beautiful shot of that bridge, and
Oh.
that's that over dramatic, hyper, that over dramatic song. And then of course, there is an episode where Gavin DeGraw happens to be in town, and they get him to play at the local coffee shop, and of course, he plays the theme song at the end of the episode.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Wait, is it the song that I started singing? I don't remember.
I don't want to be anything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, but I've been trying to be Lily. That one?
Yes.
I
Yep.
love that song.
Yeah, well,
That
you
is
get to hear it 300 times if you watch all 9 seasons of that
oh,
show
I'm on
because
board.
every episode
On board
they
right
never
now.
drop it. That's the best part. They never drop it and they never change it.
Oh,
There's
it's
a point in
beautiful.
which Chad Michael Murray is not on that show anymore, and yet he opens every episode because they didn't reshoot that
He's the
scene.
legacy. He's got a legacy. You gotta know.
Um,
Oh man,
the
that's
other thing I
awesome.
started the other thing I started doing is I started rewatching Bones for some reason. I don't know
Oh,
why. I just realized it was all
oh yeah,
finally
you
like
said that.
it there was a long time ago where it was not on. Actually, I shouldn't say that long ago. Like a few months ago, I don't think it was on anything. I don't know if like when 2019 started, it popped up on Hulu or what, but
Mm,
finally, I didn't realize that show was 12 seasons long.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
a
watched the first 5.
It's insane.
So,
My dad will just throw it on every now and then. Like that or Blue Bloods is usually on our television with like a midday. And there are parts in Bones where I'm like, this what is happening right now? Like, oh,
they go they
it's
go so they get weird in like really good ways on that show. I've always found it like relatively charming. And also
Oh
David
yeah,
Boreanaz is just like perfect as Sealy Booth in that
yeah.
show.
Agent. There was an episode on that a painter, or they think there was like a modern artist or whatever, and he apparently a car like had a dead body in it, and it had either belonged to the artist or whatever, and they like figured it out, or they thought that the body in the car was him, and they were like, "Oh, he's a genius. He's a genius. He literally put himself into his work."
Oh my
And it's
God.
just like, a man is dead.
Uh-huh.
Like, you need to take a step back. A man is dead right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Calm down.
I don't the people that must work for that show. The thing that was really funny about that is that, of course, anybody who doesn't know this, it's theoretically very loosely based on the life of an actual person
Oh,
who
really?
wrote. Yeah,
Oh,
the
I never knew
woman named
that.
Kathy Rakes, who actually wrote like the mystery books. Like she was an anthropologist that wrote the mystery books. Like Temperance Brennan is her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so like and it says in like the first season, like one of the credits on there is like based on the life and books of Kathy Rakes or whatever. Which makes me laugh because you watch that show and go, okay, so this is theoretically based on a real woman, and yet one of the weirder choices they made in season one is that her best friend's father is the guitarist from ZZ Top for some reason.
Wait, what?
Like, yes, her friend Angela, who's like the artist that does all like the facial reconstruction and stuff
Mm-hmm.
on that show.
Yeah.
Um, it starts in season one, and he shows up throughout the series. But in season one, there's an episode where they're all quarantined in the lab on Christmas, and so they're like, "We've arranged for your families to come visit." And she's like, "Okay, but when you all see my father, don't freak out and don't make a big thing of it."
Wait,
And then when they show the shot, it's Bill Gibbons, the guitarist of ZZ Top.
wait,
It's
is
just
he
her dad playing himself
playing
as like a
himself?
play as a fictionalized version of Bill Gibbons. Yeah, like just is him.
Ooh,
And that just
I
continues
thought.
throughout the series is that they allude to the fact that her father is the guitarist for ZZ Top. And when he
I,
shows up, people are like, I love your music. Also, you're kind of scary. Like,
I 100% thought, like, when you said that he was playing a character.
no,
The
no. I mean,
fact that
like,
he's
I mean,
playing
yeah.
himself.
Like, it's weird. Like, they don't do anything. The thing is, I don't know if they ever say his name, and I don't know if they ever say ZZ Top. They just go, "My dad is famous," and every time they talk about him, they're like, you know, "I'm famous. I'm a famous guitarist." They never like come right out and say who he is or who he plays for, just assuming everyone's going to look at him and go, "Oh, well, that's the guy from
Oh,
ZZ Top. We
obviously.
know him."
Yeah.
Like,
Jeez, that's amazing. Oh my god. I might need
uh,
to watch Bones just for that.
you should. You should also
Like,
look up the scene. I forget what season it is that came out the same time that Avatar was coming out, the James Cameron Avatar. But
oh,
because they're
no,
all,
you set me straight on that. I understand
yeah,
when which one when
there's
you're talking about which one.
yes, there is a great there's John Francis Daly, who is the younger brother on Freaks and Geeks,
Yep.
comes in like season 3 or 4, and because Fox is producing the Avatar films,
Yep.
and this was a Fox show, they were like, we need to advertise Avatar on Bones because, oh,
Oh
geeky
my
people
god.
watch it, I
Oh
guess.
my god.
And so there is legitimately a scene in which someone walks into a room in which John Francis Daly and this other character, Hodgins, on a large screen are watching the Avatar trailer. And John Francis Daly just goes, "Man, I can't even tell the difference between CGI and reality anymore. This movie's gonna be great." That's it. And then they start having a
Oh
conversation
my
about a
god.
murder. Like,
That's an, I just need to share with you what just happened and to people listening. During your explanation of that, my cat got stuck in my headphone cable
okay.
and I didn't know what to do. For a solid, like, oh, sorry.
Oh, that's
I,
beautiful.
I just look down and there's Ruby just trapped. And I'm like, but I'm listening to a story. Ruby, what are you doing? What is happening?
Like, You will not make fun of Avatar or John Francis Daly. How dare you?
She was
Rah!
like really excited for
Uh,
it. Oh man, but that's insane. That it just
yeah.
like all I just want to watch
Like,
Bones
but
now
like
from the beginning.
network TV, especially in like the early 2000s, I forget how crazy we all got somewhere with like especially things like brand placement
Yeah.
and things like
Oh
that where
yeah.
they were just like they just got blatant with it sometimes.
It's crazy.
uh and I finally found Fringe again. Fringe is back on the internet, so
Mm.
I can rewatch that, my new version of X-Files I've been waiting to go back for. But you have
That's
to like
another one I wanted to watch.
yeah, you have to like search for it in the weirdest way. So it's on what IMDb's like pseudo free um,
Oh, I got.
streaming service called
Yep.
Freedive, which I looked it up today. I got very confused for a while because I could not find Freedive anywhere. And it turns out it's because I was looking for it on my phone. So Freedive is a website that right now currently only exists like through your browser on a regular computer. There's no app or anything.
Oh, okay.
So if you have an IMDb account and you sign on online on just a computer, you can then go to whatever their catalog is.
Do you need to have the IMDb Pro account or just any?
No, you can have an account or you can even log in with your Amazon account.
Oh, okay.
Because if you
Beautiful.
have Amazon Prime, you can also go through the catalog through Amazon Prime.
Oh,
The thing
okay.
that's
Sweet.
annoying, that's how I ended up finding it. But what's really annoying about that is if you're on the website for Prime looking for it, it doesn't tell you what's an IMDb free dive thing. You know how like all the stuff for Prime that
Yeah.
you get with that, it will have like a little banner.
Yeah.
So because it's not technically with Amazon Prime, it's just marked off without the banner on it. So it doesn't tell you unless you click on it that it's free with ads through IMDb Free Dive.
Got
There's
you.
like no indication. There's not like a place to go and just look at the Free Dive items on Amazon Prime. It is the most annoying thing.
That's weird.
It's very weird. Um, but yeah, I'm just happy to have that. I'll probably have more to say on that when I hit episodes I haven't actually watched before. But go back and watch it, everybody. It's where I was introduced to Lance Reddick, and I've never been happier. He's just so professional and stoic. And then he was in Destiny. It was great. Also,
That was
Joshua Jackson
great.
to bring it back to Dawson's Creek
Oh my god.
and John Noble. That's a great cast for what was a weird like show that somehow made it through 5 seasons and probably would not make it through one season now,
Oh
especially on
no.
Fox.
No. The little I know of Fringe, no.
It's
It
it's
would never.
entirely because they were banking on Lost at the time because
Yeah.
it's all the same people that made Lost
Yeah.
made Fringe, and so they were like, we're gonna try this again, and they got 5 seasons out of that, and then they tried to do it one more time with Sleepy Hollow, and they really screwed up Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
So
I remember like I remember we started watching that and then I went off to school and I'm like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm not even keeping up. Watch it without me.
apparently, in
I'm
like
good.
from like season 2 and into I think there was a third season,
Yeah, there was.
they like really ruined the
Yeah.
whole story they were telling.
Yeah, I'm sure. It
So
it was weird to begin with. Started off rocky.
yeah.
Oh
So
man.
that's all I've been doing. Is
That's
I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts games and then watching Bones and Fringe and One Tree Hill. So I guess I'm a 13-year-old in
Hey,
2006
hey,
is what
you
I am.
know, everybody needs that. That's okay. We all have a 13-year-old living in our hearts. It's fine.
Ugh, especially if you're Sora. Anyway,
Especially if you're so.
how have you been?
Oh no, I've been great. Like to roll out the like media stuff that I've been doing these past 2 weeks. Beat Blossom Tales, the Sleeping King. I beat that, which was really interesting. And then I watched a guy beat it in 28 minutes.
Isn't that
Because
always upsetting when you're like, I did this, I
well,
spent so much time on this, and
you
then
want
you
to know
watch
what's
someone?
you want to know what's upsetting about it? The way he did it. Have you played Blossom Tales?
Yeah, I can't remember where I fell off on it, but probably got like either half or 3/4 of the way through it.
Okay,
I can't
so
remember which world I ended on or whatever.
yeah, so basically there are you have the king, he's asleep, his brother put him to sleep cuz you got to have a villain. You have to collect 3 ingredients to wake up the king and then you eventually have to go, take down his brother. So you do that, right? My playthrough was probably 16 hours, if I'm remembering correctly. Like it's really not a long game
No, no, no.
if
This
you
was one of the first
don't
like
mess around.
and this was one of the first big like Nintendo Switch
Yeah.
indie titles when they
Yep.
before the market got so flooded that you can't have big indie titles on Switch anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
So, it was I loved it. I really really enjoyed it. I beat it before Devin, which Devin is not happy about cuz he bought it for himself to play, but he bought it on my Switch cuz he wasn't sure about it. He's like, "I'll buy it on your Switch and then if I don't like it, hey, you got another game." I'm like, "Cool, that's fine." And then I ended up beating it like a year or two after he bought it. Um so the way this person beat it in 28 minutes is he basically just got the third ingredient, which breaks the game.
oh yeah, because you're not supposed to be able to get to to like that.
No,
That game is not like
there's
open, right? Like it's like a Zelda game where it kind of locks off each section until you find like an item to open it, doesn't it?
if I'm remembering correctly, kind of, I don't know. You can travel to different to certain areas, but it's just like you can't. Yeah, you don't have certain like tools really to do certain things. I don't know. It's strange. Um but like I'll have to play through it again cuz I don't remember how that game began because the when I started it and when I finished it, there was like 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months between. So I completely forgot the opening of that game and how you got to things. So it's very possible that you need things in order to get to other areas or they just don't unlock until you're told about them. Um but basically this person uses bombs. There's like a bomb hack or whatever. If you set up bombs in front of a like uncrossable wall, it will attack, it'll hurt you through the wall.
Okay, yeah. So
So
I mean, a
it'll
lot like the bomb jump for Link to
for
the
Link to
Past.
Past. Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. So that's exactly what it is. It basically bomb jumps you into an unusable area to get you to the next screen. So this guy does that. He gets up to the final area where you get the final ingredient, brings the one ingredient back to the kingdom, and boom, wakes up the king. Magically has the other two items.
I was gonna say the game must just be like set up for like cutscene and
Yeah,
story stuff to be like because it doesn't expect you to get that third item till later.
yeah.
Interesting.
And it was just like, oh, okay. And then all they had to do was get through the final dungeon with the final boss. And it was like, what wait, but what? How did the game what? So now I want to do that and try and do it in 28 minutes.
Oh, it's worth a shot.
Like it boggled my mind that the game just kind of broke itself but was also completely legit.
That's like this is actually not a broken theoretically not a broken way to do this, but Breath of the Wild when it first came out, it's like it was out for like a week and someone beat the game in 20 minutes because they had figured out a way to get off of the I'm having deja vu because I just talked to Devin about this. Anyway, someone figured out how to get off of the Great Plateau without doing any of the tool opening thing and getting the paraglider.
Oh,
So as soon as they figured out how to do that, they just ran to the castle and fought Ganon. And
well
so
there you
like
go.
I don't know how they got themselves off of the Great Plateau, but that's all it took them. It was like I'm not spending the hour or two it takes to go through the different things. Either that or they figured out how to get in and out of those shrines so quickly that they just got in and out and done.
Yeah.
But I think just from I guess the cutscenes are skippable. Maybe that's how they did it. But either way, they got off of that opening area so fast and just ran to the end and killed the bad guy, which means they did that with like 3 hearts and no weapon. But
Yeah.
you know,
Seriously, cuz you have nothing at the beginning of that game.
not really. No,
That's
I mean especially
insane.
your armor is
Yeah,
useless
you
at
have
the start of
cloth.
that. Yeah. So
Wow.
I just like that idea. It's like okay, I'm just gonna go to the bad guy and beat him now because you programmed the game where I could get that. That's how a lot of the Ocarina of Time speedruns work too
Yeah.
because in order to fit memory wise, in order to fit stuff on all the cartridges, they actually have like 2 or 3 different levels loaded. So if you can get out into the void between them, you can actually jump to different parts of that game where you're not supposed to be able to get
Jeez.
because the map is theoretically there and rendered. You're just blocked by whatever wall they put in front of
Oh
you.
my god.
So people have figured out how to get through the wall and just fall into the next area.
That's crazy.
Uh,
Game breaking is like a science on its own. It really is.
there are actually a few different like YouTube series like that.
Oh
I,
yeah, I'm
I
sure.
forget I forget what the like big one is called. That is literally just like game breakers or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
where like a guy shows you all of this stuff about what's rendered when you're on like the start menu of a game and realize, oh, there's like 6 levels rendered
Yeah.
around you just from the menu. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's cool too, like cuz you get to see how games work. I don't know. But yeah, that was Blossom Sale. I hope you finish it cuz it's really really fun.
I mean, I'll go
Yeah.
back and like just restart it at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
definitely
yeah.
been too long since I
It's
remember, but
and it's a super quick game. I mean, like the puzzles can take some time, but the puzzles are my favorite part of that game. It's really just puzzles, but the puzzles in that game are some of my favorite moments because once you get them, it's like, oh, thank God, and it saves them so you don't have to do them every single time you die, and it's very helpful. The other thing I really wanted to talk about was Magnum PI.
which was like you said this a couple of weeks ago when we spent so much time on Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts, we had to like stop
Yep,
ourselves from doing a 3-hour episode.
yep,
Um, that is an unexpected thing that I heard come out of your mouth. You're
yeah,
like, I wanted to talk about Magna PI. It's like, really?
yeah.
Okay,
Like, so
sure.
I have no connection to the original Magnum PI whatsoever, other than I know it's a show about private investigator.
What I know of it
That's
as
it.
is it's the reason that Tom Selleck was not Indiana Jones.
Yeah, or that. I
That's
did
the
not
only
know
other.
that.
Yeah, he wanted to audition for Indiana Jones and he couldn't get out of the Magnum PI contract, so they wouldn't let him take time off to go
Wow.
make it. So
The
then it
world
became
could have
Harrison
been
Ford.
so different.
Yup.
Imagine if Tom Selleck was Indiana
Imagine
Jones.
if Indiana Jones had that mustache.
Yeah,
Anyway,
seriously. Anyways, tangent. Yeah, no. So I never saw the original, like didn't know anything about it. And then we saw that the that Magnum PI was getting a remake with the guy, and I don't know his name, but he's the love interest from Bad Moms. If you've seen Bad Moms.
I haven't, which is like I have no idea who we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't know his name, and I apologize. But oh my god, am I obsessed and in love with this show? Like more than I ever expected myself to be. And I don't know if it's because we've been binging it, because we've had episodes on our DVD from Christmas and like from Halloween of last year and from like when it first started. We had probably 12 or so episodes on our DVR. So we basically just binge watched through them. I don't know if that's why I loved it so much or if it's because it's just a really, really good show. But oh my god, it's one of my new favorite shows of all time on like actual television and not on a streaming service.
Yeah, I mean it slots right in with I mean it's CBS, right? So
I believe yes.
same
Yeah.
people that made the Hawaii Five-O remake that's still going,
Yep.
which I cannot believe. And like
Yeah.
the fact that like CBS continuing as it always does to be like we're putting out this thing that somehow everybody watches and nobody remembers it's on.
Yeah.
That's like that might as well be their company motto at this point
Mhm. Yeah.
because their stuff goes on forever. So like I'm not surprised that it's like fairly good quality. I'm just like the second you said that, I was like, I forgot that was even a
A
thing
thing, right?
because of course they did the thing where they hired a woman to be Higgins and everybody went so everybody of course had to be pissy on the internet about that for a little bit. And then the show
Which
came out and nobody talked about it.
yeah,
So I completely
because
forgot we had that conversation.
you want to know why nobody talked about it? Cuz they were all fucking wrong.
Yeah, because it was like, oh,
Because
we can't make fun of this. What are we gonna do?
yeah. No, because she is the best. Like I love her. I don't know about the Higgins from the original show, but what I've talked with my dad about is that he hated Magnum, did not help Magnum, did not care about Magnum. This Higgins is like she helps him, but she doesn't really want to, but it's really nice. Like it feels like she's kind of a bitch, but like it's like a fun bitch. She has to be like that in order for him not to be a fuck up.
Which really, I mean,
Like
somebody has to do it.
she has to
Somebody has to tell him
basically
what to do. If
take
I
care of
remember,
him.
yeah, because if I remember correctly, let's see if this tracks with the new version. Because at some point I watched the pilot to the original Magnum PI. I never watched past that, but I believe he's just like crashing on the couch of an old friend,
Yeah,
and Higgins is like the guy watching the house for him, like the butler or something, like
yeah.
watching the house for him, which is why he doesn't like Magnum because
Hmm.
that basically is just like, oh, I'm like a Vietnam War vet with the guy that owns this house, and I'm crashing on his couch for a little bit. And Higgins is like, you were a dirty mustachioed man in a Hawaiian t-shirt. Why are you here?
So the new Magnum, it's Magnum is staying at this guy Robin's house. I don't remember his last name, but he's staying at this place called the Robin's Nest, and it's like this huge, estate area. And Higgins is the not Duomo, but she's like the caretaker. She takes care of everything and she watches the house for him, much like the original
Right.
Higgins.
Okay. Yeah. So
But the
that still fairly
reason
tracks.
the
Okay.
tie to Robin in the new one is that he Magnum and his friends, and again, I don't know if this is true to the original, but Magnum and like his friends who kind of help him throughout all of his jobs and whatnot, they were prisoners of war and they escaped together. It was four guys, and they all escaped from prison, and they Robin was like, I'm gonna write your stories into books. Are you okay with that? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. But they don't really get royalties from it because he doesn't use their names. He like no one knows who the actual people in his books are, but everybody knows about these guys who escaped from this prison of like from this war camp. It's weird. It's weird. That part of it is very strange and gets forgotten a lot
That
because
sounds very much like the we were all like because like they were definitely all like Vietnam War vets in
yeah,
the 80s one, which makes me think that they were like, we need something to tie this back to a war. What do we got?
this one I think it's Afghanistan.
Yeah, like I
Um,
imagine it's like Afghanistan or Iraq or something, but it sounds like they were like, okay,
yeah,
we need them to be buddies from a war,
yep,
and then I don't know, let's just throw something in there for why they all
yeah. It's
still talk to each other or something. I don't know.
it's really weird. Yeah, they all so there's a really nice episode. The first episode, spoilers for the very first episode of the new Magnum PI. There's TC and there's Rick who are from the original show. And then there is a fourth friend who I can't remember his name right now, but you just know that he's like the character that dies. You just know it. Um
We got his name and a really depressing backstory for him,
yep.
so of course he wouldn't die in
Yeah,
5 minutes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's like a really nice callback to him and Magnum, and they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to go home, and blah blah blah. And it's basically his name. I want to say it starts with an L. I'm really upset that I can't remember his name right now. Because I also forgot that I wanted to talk about Magnum, so I did not prepare anything. So it was like basically this fourth friend's idea to move to Hawaii. Don't even go home. Let's just move to Hawaii. The four of us need to just leave and be someone new and start new. So that's how they get to Hawaii, and then that's they've stayed there for however many years. But it's very strange because lately it's a lot of Magnum doesn't have money because he just loves helping people. He doesn't care if he gets paid. He owes a lot of people a lot of money, but he's like, I'll get it to you eventually. At this point in time, I'm helping people, and that's what I've been put here to do. So it's really strange to me that like they don't get money, and it might have been explained, but yeah, they get no money to my knowledge from the like book sales of their actual
Yeah.
prison like stories
So
and their escapes.
this still in season one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just because I've got to imagine like the season finale is like almost guaranteed to have like a final shot of him
Oh yeah.
actually becoming like a licensed PI or something and
Yeah.
making money off
Oh
of it.
no, he's a licensed PI. He just doesn't
He
get
just doesn't take any money
he
for
just
it.
doesn't really take money, and if he does take money, it's immediately gone because he has to pay someone back. Or like one of the most recent episodes, a guy is murdered, and in the event of his murder or his death, this envelope was to be sent to Magnum, and it had like $10,000 in it, or something like that, $10 million in it. It was like it could have paid off all of Magnum's debts. And at the end of the episode, everybody's like standing around in a barbecue, and they're like, "So where's our money? Like, you owe us money." And he's like, "My rate is $500 a day. I took my cut and I donated the rest of that money to charity.
Eh,
Sorry, guys." And it's like, you kind of can't be mad at him, but at the same time, you owe us money. It's like, but like, it just shows like Magnum is such a good dude that he takes chickens as payments. And it's like he has all this backlog of support too. And they're so reluctant, but they love him so much that they're like, we need to help Magnum, because by helping Magnum, it means a bad person is off the street, and someone got some good in their life, and someone was helped. And it's just this really, like, really nice. It makes me cry almost every episode because it's so heartfelt, and like it feels how television used to be.
right.
And
And it
it's
kind
like,
of feels like we've like because for a long period of time there we had the like Jackass with the Heart of Gold scenario
yeah,
where you had people
exactly.
like House who were like cranky and mean all the
Yeah,
time, but they were doing good things, and we finally seem to be moving on or swinging back, I guess, to what we had kind of in the 80s where it was
yeah,
like, no, it's just good people doing good things sometimes.
yeah. In this case, it's a cocky dude who deserves to be cocky because like he gets the job done. But it's so I highly recommend it to anyone who needs a show and
Hmm,
just wants some good heartfelt stuff to happen. Yeah.
cool. I mean, that's a big reason why I like. I mean, that's a big reason why I like Bones and Fringe
Yeah.
too. Like
Well,
again from the early 2000s, where like both of those shows are much like how I've always said, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec. I
mhm.
love those shows because everybody's good at their job, but then
Yeah.
they're just idiots for other things. These are police procedural shows and sci-fi shows that are like everybody's a consummate professional and very good at what they do, and also like weird shit's happening. Like
Yeah.
the things coming from all of the weird shit happening. It's got nothing to do with these people being bad people.
Yeah, it 100% feels like a early 2000s show. Like that I don't know enough people know about, and it makes me sad.
It's on CBS. It'll still last for like
Yeah. Oh
15 years
yeah,
without anybody noticing.
which makes me very, and it's going to be watched in 15 years, and people are like, "Oh, remember the show Magnum PI? It was actually really, really good."
Someone's gonna turn it on and be
Um,
like, "Oh my God, I just discovered the show. Wait, there's a new episode tomorrow? What are you
yeah,
talking about?"
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is. Oh, it's so, it just, yeah, it makes me happy anytime there's an episode on. What else was I gonna say? I completely forgot. It was something about
Something
Magnum
about.
PI. I don't know. I don't know. I saw Alita Battle Angel also.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to go find that because I keep hearing actually really good things,
Yeah,
like surprisingly good things.
I don't want to say anything. It's also kind of like Serenity, like Serenity? Yeah, Serenity. Right? No.
Yes, you're talking about Matthew McConaughey's
Yes.
Serenity, not
Yes.
Firefly
Not
Serenity.
Firefly.
Yes.
It's like Serenity where it's like I want to talk to you about it, but I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah. Here's the thing. As far as Serenity goes, I know almost every detail of that movie because I've been obsessed with it without having seen it. So I
Oh,
know
that's
what goes on in
true.
that. I don't know if
Oh
you want to
my
do anything about the audience, but
god.
I know what's going on in Serenity. And
Oh,
oh my God,
I can't believe we haven't gotten to talk about it yet.
I'm waiting. Like at this point, we might have to wait for it to either go to a streaming service or Blu-ray so I can finally sit down and watch it.
Yeah,
It's a
because
fit,
like
my first white whale of 2019. I need to see this
you
movie.
need to, because even if you know everything about it, I can guarantee there's something that you don't know, and I
Yeah,
don't
like
want to
I
be the
like
one to
yeah, I
like
need to like visually figure
you.
out what's
Yes.
going on because in my head, there's no way it either. matches perfectly with the image in my head, or it is way off, and
Yeah.
I need to know which one it is
Yeah.
so badly.
Oh God. Yeah. I want to see it 100 more times. It's
But
so good.
going back to Battle Angel, I actually have a question
Yeah. Okay.
because this is perfect. I know a lot of people are talking about the eyes. Everybody's talking about the eyes. Everybody's like, "Oh, the eyes are weird. What's with the eyes?"
Uh
I
huh.
actually have a very specific question, and it is not to make fun of the eyes. I swear,
Okay.
because the trailer did not help with this question.
Okay.
My assumption. So watching the trailer, the impression I got was that there's a
The
number of
impression
different
that I
people
get.
and robots in this movie. And so I saw her with the eyes, and I went, oh, okay, that's just what robot eyes are like in this movie. Except from the trailer, it looked like there was a bunch of robots that had perfectly normal human eyes. So is there an explanation for why her eyes are different from everyone else's?
Um.
They don't bother me to look at them. I just want to know that there's a reason for them.
So I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
But it's not explained. Like
It's
it's
not like a
not like
major, it's
your
not like a major
eyes are
plot point
big
or anything.
because.
Right. Okay.
But there's a very yeah. There's a specific it.
There's a world building reason for why
Yes.
her eyes are like that. Okay, that's all
Yeah.
I wanted to know. That's it.
At
Because
least
the
in
trailer
my
didn't.
opinion, like
Yeah.
I could sit right here and give you the explanation. Um, but I don't know if you want the explanation
No,
because I
no,
don't
because I will
know if
watch
it.
it. I mean, I'm gonna watch it either way. Like, it was just so funny to watch people like freaked out by the eyes
I thought it
when
was
the trailer
so
first
cool.
came out.
Yeah.
It is, well, and it's the continued argument about like all of the different CGI things going on these days.
Yeah.
Like a new Detective Pikachu trailer just dropped. I'm not going to talk about it.
Oh my god, I'm
I'm
so
not going to talk
excited.
about it.
I haven't.
But,
Oh,
you know,
I sent you a
that,
picture of something.
yes.
Like this is everything.
Oh, it's so good. Um,
So
the,
excited.
but, you know, the Detective Pikachu movie coming out and the live, the CGI kind of live action looking
Yeah.
Pokemon in that movie have a lot of people talking about things like, um, we kind of basically replaced puppets with CGI at this
Yeah.
point. Like that's just kind of what happened. So at what point, like a movie with puppets, we would go, that is a live action movie. But
Hmm.
at what point do we stop calling a movie live action because there's so much CGI involved in it? I think that's like the conversation going on. And so like when Alita's eyes were like everybody's like, oh my God, look at her eyes. They're so unsettling and weird. It's like, yeah, but there's got to be a story reason for that. They wouldn't
Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a reasoning behind it, but it's not explicitly
It's not like a major plot point. It's just
described.
that
Yeah.
it's just
No,
a
it's
thing. It's
just
just like
part of the world. It's
right.
part of the world, and it's part of where she comes from, and that's
That's
it.
kind of vaguely what I was thinking too. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's just whatever
Yeah.
model robot she is has those eyes. I don't know what to tell you. It's a
Yeah.
robot. It's not a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
No. And it was the reason why like I don't want to go into it is because this was hidden from me from all the trailers. So like finding out where she is, who she is, and all of that, and where she
Right.
comes from was completely hidden from me,
Right. The only
and
thing I
it
got out of it,
just like makes so much
yeah,
sense.
because the only thing I got out of the trailer was that she was found at a giant trash pile. Like that's all the trailer told me. So I
Yeah,
don't know what that means.
yeah,
Like it could mean anything from that.
exactly. That's what it means to me. But when you find out where that's from and all of that, it it
Right.
it explains why she is the way that she is, and why the other robots that she interacts with are the way that they
Look
are.
different and all that stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And
That's all I need to
it's
know.
actually like really really good world building, and like it shows how what the world has become, and like what we need in that world
All
to
right.
connect and continue living the way that we do pretty much. Yeah. It's oh my god, I won't. Oh my god. Now just like remembering it and thinking about it. Ugh. There's one problem with that movie, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. One problem.
Tagline for the internet.
Yep.
There's one problem with this thing, and we've got to talk about it now.
Yep. Yeah. Seriously. That'd be the clickbait. That would be the thing that gets you to click on the ad for MySpace. I don't know.
Have you watched anything else while you were sick? Didn't you mention? I swear you mentioned something else.
Yes. So I have mentioned before that I love the show episodes.
Yes.
And I basically got through the end of season 3 and maybe halfway, no, more than halfway through the fourth season. So I have 2 episodes left of the fourth season and then the fifth season, and that's the rest of episodes that I have. And that show just continues to blow my mind and like fill me with such joy that not many I mean, I get a lot of joy from a lot of television shows, but episodes is like this one show that I have to myself that I'm like, this is boggle, this is insane. What just happened is insane right now. And the one thing that I want to talk about is that it actually goes to the beginning of this episode, and that the every season. So basically, if you haven't heard me explain it before, Episodes is a television show where two British writers, like TV writers, um, like get called up from LA, network producers and whatnot, and or they meet a network producer or a network boss, owner, and he's like, "Oh my god, I love your show in Britain. It's so funny. You guys are so funny. You gotta do an American version, blah blah blah." And they kind of fall for it, and like day one, they change everything about their script so that it is unrecognizable. It has one character in it that is the same from their British show, and that's it. And he's not even the same character. He is named the same. And that's it. So it follows how like miserable their lives are and how everybody in the world hates this television show. And it's fantastic because Matt LeBlanc is in it. And Matt LeBlanc is playing a version of himself that is a complete asshole. And you just look at Matt LeBlanc in like interviews where he's actually being himself, and he seems very chill and like very calm, like soft spoken, not really what you'd expect him to be in an interview, but he seems that way. And I could be off, I could be completely wrong. But Episodes colors him in this way where he is just a pig. Like he is like he has some care in his heart, but he doesn't like know how to show it. So he's just an asshole, but he doesn't know he's being an asshole cuz he's a star. He's like, this is just how I am. This is how I act. And it's super funny to watch him be this version of himself. And I have to imagine that it was like insanely fun for him to do. But in the third season, this is like total spoilers for Episodes, but people need to watch it because of all the ups and downs that happen. But in the third season, end of second season, like third season, I could have the timeline messed up because they all kind of just flow together when you binge watch a show like that.
Yeah.
They get this they get a new network boss, right? And this dude is insane. Like legitimately insane, where to the point where he thinks furniture is talking to him and he thinks eggs are talking to him. He just thinks
Eggs is
that
talking. Eggs is talking.
yes.
Oh god.
He just he has like he hears voices and all of that. And there's a moment in an episode where he's off of his meds, and he walks into this executive meeting and he's like, "We're changing television." And that's how it starts. And he's like, we need to be unpredictable. We need to be those people where people have no idea what's going to happen. And he goes off on this rant that, like, scary kind of makes sense. And, like, it's scary how much it would work. And how much the world kind of is that now.
I was gonna say, so this would have been probably what, 3-ish
3 years
ago that he's
probably.
like, going, and so like as that's
Yeah.
as streaming and changes in television and prestige TV are
Yeah.
all growing over the next like 3 years after he said this. Yeah.
and he basically explains that we need to get rid of the schedule. And the like owner of the company, the owner of the network is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Why can't we need to have we're a network. We need to have a
I was gonna say,
schedule."
is he
How
saying just put random shit on every day?
Yes. So he's like one night we'll have this on, and the next night bees. And they're like, bees? And he's like, yeah, just fucking bees everywhere. And this is literally how he's talking. And he's like, for just 6 hours, 10 hours, just bees. And someone else is like, what are the bees doing? He goes, what the fuck does it matter? They're bees. They can do whatever we want them to do. He's like, maybe one bee is a killer. Maybe one bee is a cooking. Oh, now we have a cooking show. We have a lady cooking, right? Right? This is how he gets from point to point. He's like, we have our lady cooking, right? Right? And then bam, out of nowhere, criminal walks onto the set. And she has no idea what's going on. And this criminal, he grabs a gun, puts it up to her head, and she still has no idea. Bam, crossover, because he's from one of our other episodes. And then bam, real cops come in, shoot our actor. And other people are like, we're gonna actually shoot our actor? And he goes, yeah, you know there will be people who will do it. You know that there's a price tag on that. And it's like, he's kind of right in a really scary way that, yeah, someone might be desperate enough to be like, I'll get shot. I don't care. Give me the money.
More importantly, if you get tired enough and let YouTube run on autofill for a while, you'll see kind of this same flow of things happening.
Exactly. And he's like, and nobody knows what will go on. And then, bam, we cut to our news. Our news anchor is delivering the news. And we'll have it first because guess what? We made the news ourselves. And it's like, what just happened? And it's just, it was flawlessly like delivered in this, it's probably the most perfect delivery of like just absolute batshit craziness in maybe 5 minutes.
Part of me wants to wonder wants to hope that he made it all up on the spot, that it was entirely improvised monologue.
Exactly. And then it just like smash cuts to them clearing out his office and the owner of the network and just like the woman who is like the number 2 to whoever is the boss. And the owner of the network goes to her and he's like, so he was crazy. And she's like, yeah, so he was crazy. Sorry about that. And it's just like episode ends. It's like, what just happened? But like the scary thing is that now you don't know what's on. There are time slots, but they don't mean as much as they did 3 years ago. Like this is 3 years, maybe 4 years ago. Time slots don't mean anything anymore. Like I remember as a kid, even like Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, like for a kid, the time slots that mattered were the 6:30 to 9 o'clock. Like those were your sweet spot. That was the sweet spot. And that is when you got all of the new episodes. You knew what was on. Like that's when you wanted to be paying attention. And the 8 o'clock time slot was the best. Whatever was on at 8 o'clock. And it was like usually like for Disney, for like what I was watching on Disney Channel in like, you know, it was like That's So Raven or Zack and Cody. And it's like that 8 o'clock time slot for a kids network was like, that's where you wanted to be. That means that you are good enough to like hold these attentions of these children. And you don't even want to like CBS, NBC, like all of these like big time networks, you had those time slots. You had things competing with each other. And it's weird to think that, yeah, that happens. I'm sure that happens, but nobody cares. Nobody's paying attention to it anymore. And it's like it's crazy that he pretty much predicted that in this insane rant, and also described streaming, because he brings up the fact that the internet is everywhere, and that you can just go on the internet and find whatever the hell you want at any time. So why can't television be that way? And like, it makes sense, and is like, the way he describes it is terrifying, because he's talking about shooting a person
And
and
bees, lots
literally,
of bees.
and bees, lots of fucking bees. And it's just like, yeah, everything is so readily available to us that television has drastically changed. And it's normal. Like, it's okay, but it's not. Cuz like, if you think about it, if you get into the meat and potatoes of it, it can also be kind of scary. And that's
Yeah,
what I want to say this week
and
about
that's the
streaming.
and that's the sort of thing that's actually going to probably like CBS. As much as CBS All Access is a crazy bad thing to use sometimes,
Mm.
I tried to use the subtitles watching Star Trek the other day, and I
It was
couldn't.
just
I couldn't
awful.
do it. I couldn't do it. They were tiny, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find a way to make them bigger. Actually, I think I made a find a way to make them bigger, but they were like, it was like I was about 10 minutes into the episode. The credits were like from the beginning of the episode. It was like the credits had not kept up, or not the credits, the captions. The captions were from the beginning of the episode. It was like the subtitles were giving me conversations that had happened 10 minutes before
Jesus.
because it
Oh
had
my
not caught
god.
up with the show yet.
Yeah, that's awful. That's insane.
But if anybody needs to figure out streaming, it's CBS because, like we just talked about,
Yeah.
like they basically have ridden on the idea that they start a show and like they get one or two major hits,
Yep.
like Big Bang Theory or Two and a Half Men, and everything just kind of coasts on the fact that people will put on CBS at 8 o'clock and then just not shut it off for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And so like they need to figure out how that works when people aren't just turning on the channel at some point anymore. And what do you do after that? So I'm not surprised they were the first ones to be like, we need our own streaming
Yeah.
service. I'm also not surprised that they are just completely screwing it up.
Yeah. I'm sure. Well, it's also like, it it's weird. Like, you say that CBS television shows are basically now background noise, because Big Bang Theory, like, everyone has seen and like one episode of Big Bang Theory. If there is a person out there who hasn't seen at least one episode of Big Bang Theory, I give them all of the praise,
And to be
because
clear,
like,
we don't
that's
mean that
impressive.
to be clear, we don't mean that you sat down and purposely watched an episode of Big Bang
Yeah,
Theory.
it was
You
just
have been in a
on.
doctor's office or at a gym or in
Yes.
a restaurant with TVs on the wall,
Yeah.
and an episode of Big Bang Theory crossed your path by accident.
Exactly. Yeah. If literally, if there is a person out there who has not seen, even subtitled, like in a restaurant or something, if there's a person out in there in the world who hasn't seen an episode of The Big Bang Theory, I want to meet them and like become friends with them, because living a life without, I don't hate Big Bang Theory. There are a lot of good jokes from it, a lot of solid good jokes that come from Big Bang Theory, but I imagine what life would be like not knowing anything about the Big Bang Theory, and like, that is very interesting to me. And I don't know why, but it is. But CBS is very much just this background noise thing that you would think streaming would be, and it's not. Like, I use streaming as a way to just have something on in the background, because I can, like, it doesn't happen anymore, but when Netflix had all of Phineas and Ferb on, every single episode of Phineas and Ferb, and I was like downstairs cleaning, or I was just, doing homework or something, I would just throw Phineas and Ferb on in the background, because I've seen every episode, and I don't need to pay attention to it because it just automatically plays the next episode. So it's so strange that, like, streaming is the thing that people pay attention to a degree, because I know people who just throw on new television shows on Netflix or something and they don't pay attention, but they that's how they watch television. Like that's how they watch these streaming shows, which is fine. I can't do that though. So
Not
it's
for
like,
something new. I can't do that for something I've
yeah,
never seen before. It's another
no,
thing entirely to be like, oh, I've watched this a million times.
yeah,
Like American Dad.
yeah,
Hulu probably thinks I'm obsessed with that series because I put it on to sleep. So it's just
exactly.
on for the 8 hours that I'm
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah, like that's why on Hulu, like I have Danny Phantom, I have My Life as a Teenage Robot in there, I have Simpsons in there, because like these are all good background things that I've seen, and it's okay if I don't see every single second of it. But like it's so strange that CBS and NBC and like all of these these networks that were so important to the world when like I would like when we were younger are now just like, yeah, whatever. They could go away at any moment and I don't think anyone would bat an eye. And that's
Um,
crazy.
and we're also right in the middle of everything's about to split up now because the thing with Hulu is that it is owned in part by all the major networks. So
Yeah.
the thing is, if those go away, Hulu might actually disappear and people would notice. They wouldn't
Yeah.
notice the network stopped. They would notice that Hulu disappeared.
Exactly.
But like at the same time, CBS has never been fully invested in them anyway, and now they have their own thing. NBC has pretty much NBC or Fox. Sorry, Fox was had all of the stuff just bought by parts of Disney.
Mhm.
Disney is in the middle of starting their own streaming service, which is why all of their stuff is disappearing off the others.
Yep.
And so, like theoretically, if Disney owns a portion of Hulu, but they also have their own streaming service, how long is that stuff gonna
Yeah.
last on there?
Yeah. But it's
So
but the thing is like so like Fox, all Fox shows, right? We in this house, we no longer tape Fox shows or ABC shows because they're all on Hulu. So it's like another level to like ratings. Like you can't how can you follow ratings anymore cuz nobody is watching them live. Everything is taped. There are things going over each other and it's like, "Oh, I didn't get to watch the new episode of Orville live. I can watch it tomorrow on Hulu." So it's like what keeps ABC and Fox from being like, "We're no longer showing live TV. We're going to dump all our money into Hulu and we'll get it all back." Like we will get our money from people cuz we're not getting it from live television.
yeah, and it's I mean, the economics of TV have always been strange.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're talking about things that are literally built on ad money, which is why
Mhm.
even when you paid for Hulu to begin with, it's still like there were still ads to it
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like all of that is all built into that. And then on top of that, you get the fact that like even if they went full internet, the fact is that like cable companies are providing your internet now.
Yeah.
And so like when I was back living back in New Mexico, I was like there was a point where I just wasn't watching live TV anymore.
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, I called them up. I was like, hey, could I just give you back my cable box and not pay for cable and only pay for internet? What would that save me? And they were like, nothing, because we're going to charge you the same amount whether you're just getting TV or whether you're just getting internet or while you're getting internet and basic cable,
Yeah.
because we get the same amount of money either way, and there's no one out there to fight us on it.
Yeah.
So like so
It's
like the
crazy.
it's and I have no idea how that money goes who to where and anything
Yeah.
like that. And so it is so strange to be like cable TV is kind of this dead vestigial thing that is still stuck on people
Yeah. And it's
because they
like
want to get internet and it's the same company.
yeah, it's crazy. So like I guess maybe that is why they just stay cuz they're like why not?
Because they're still getting like the few people who
Yeah.
might have
Well,
cable but
yeah.
still don't get internet.
Yeah.
Like there is still a small population for there. There's very rarely, there's no one that goes in the other direction because the people that are getting internet are either just getting internet or they're paying for both, and it's the same price either way.
Yeah.
But they can still get the people that are paying for yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
oh my
I
God.
100% believe that within a few years it's gonna be gone. Like
Or
it's
at the
just
very
gonna
least,
be streaming stuff.
yeah. Or at the very least, they will figure out a way to make like DVRs. They will make
Yeah.
it so that like you don't get cable anymore. You just kind of get a DVR that lets you also kind of cycle through whatever show they want. They'll figure out a
Exactly.
way. I'm surprised they haven't figured out a way yet to be like I mean, your cable signal is your internet now. I don't see understand why your DVR or your cable box can't just be like, I mean, you got on demand. Everything will
Exactly.
be on demand. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
At some point, no more. It's no more live service. It's your box is also just going to give you access to whatever the cable company wants to give you
Mhm.
access to or something.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's great. TV's crazy, man.
It is crazy. And you know what? The Oscars apparently worked just fine without a host.
Oh
That's all I've got
yeah,
to
the
say to that.
Oscars
My
happened,
understanding
huh?
my understanding about the Oscars is that the weirdest part of that night had nothing to do with the fact that there was no host because nobody noticed. Nobody noticed there was no host at the Oscars. They were too busy just like getting mad at the movies that were winning there
Yeah.
that were winning Oscars,
Yeah.
which
Which
happens anyway. So,
that's every single Oscars. Like
yep.
that's not new.
But you know what? No one's mad that Spider-Verse won because of course it did because it deserved it.
Exactly.
Sorry, Disney. Get out of here.
I mean, oh no, it's Sony. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry Disney, get out of here.
everybody's talking about the fact that like Black Panther got the MCU its first Oscar, which they're not wrong, but
Yeah.
let's not forget that there were two Marvel properties that won Oscars that night.
Mhm.
Everybody.
Mhm. This is true. Oh man, I forgot that the Oscars were a thing.
We all did. We all did. I forgot till we got home after. That's because we were so busy. We were in our own Disney
Yep.
universe.
Oh god. Oh.
I like that. Um, we're winding down here, so I'll just say this because we definitely didn't say at the beginning. Twitch.tv/the Say Report is where you can go find those
Yeah, I
videos.
mentioned it briefly, but like not enough
Yeah,
information.
it's in two parts because we lost power for a second.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's like 9 hours and then we lost power,
Yeah.
and the last 3 hours is in the second one.
Yep.
I don't know how long those stay up there because I don't think the Say Report channel itself is an affiliate or
Yeah, I
partner
don't
like
think
that,
so.
which means they will stay up there for at least 2 weeks. And then we've got the video, on our end, and we'll
Yeah.
probably figure out something to do from there. And hopefully stay tuned because I think we all were like, there's not that much left of this game, so we may be trying to figure out a way to finish that at
Mhm.
some point.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna go somewhere with that. Oh, I did just like there was definitely a point on Sunday where like we were like, "Hey, the Oscars are on." It's like, yeah, but we're having fun. We're gonna do this
Yeah.
instead.
And then we just kept on checking. Oh,
Yeah.
this one. Oh, this
Oh,
one.
that one. Oh, there's that. Oh, animated feature. Yeah, Spider-Verse. That's all we care about.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh man.
So
Yeah, we were in our own. And then I had dreams that were all Kingdom Hearts related, and it freaked me out
there
when
is
I
there
woke up.
there is an entire Kingdom Hearts game about going through dream worlds. So I mean, you're
Yeah.
not far off
Yeah.
from
It freaked me out all night.
Oh
Oh
man.
man. Yeah. I don't know. I got nothing. This was all just like basically
This was like 2 weeks of
words.
build up. Just get this out.
Yeah.
We need to clear some stuff out and move on.
Just need to get this off my chest.
Magnum PI deserves so much.
It does. It really does, and so does episodes.
So does
Oh
One Tree
man.
Hill, frankly.
So
That
does One
show
Tree
is
Hill.
that One Tree Hill is
And
a show.
Bones.
One Tree Hill is a show in which the women have way more agency and good conversations than even shows today,
Oh,
than even teen shows today.
oh my
The
god.
best character on that show is the slutty cheerleader girl. She's the only actor in the first season that looks like she's having fun because she doesn't get into any of the stupid drama.
Oh, awesome.
Uh,
Oh my god. Man, TV. TV has so changed.
TV is still good,
It's
people.
so
Believe it or not,
insane.
TV is still good. Don't let it die.
There are golden television shows out there that aren't on Netflix or Hulu. Please broaden your horizons. Please.
Find CBS All Access because not only is Star Trek good, but the new Twilight Zone starts on April 1st.
Oh, that's true. But
Oh,
don't use the subtitles.
don't bother. They're useless.
Oh man.
This has
Well,
been Say Report
this
Jr.
has been Say Report Junior, hasn't it?
It has.
Oh,
You
man.
can find us on Twitter at Say Report Jr. and you can find us on YouTube
Woohoo.
if you search Say Report Jr. Devin and I noticed this the other day. Make sure when you search Junior that you're just going with the JR because if you search the whole word, that's not going to get you anything. We are
No.
Say Report JR.
Yep.
And you can find us individually. I am at Zerwisky.
And I am at Dale's Brain on Twitter, not on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that was the last thing I mentioned. Wasn't it? Yes, on Twitter, as Risky and at Dale's Brain.
Oh man, I think the
Uh,
only thing left is that we should all go get ice cream.
yes. And also that our episodes will go up on Fridays on the
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
channel. Latest one. We've got a schedule
because
for
we're
that now, and
we're
we're up
up
to
to
date.
date.
Boom.
Yay! Things are happening.
Now, take it away, Liz.
Oh man.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowik. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for the Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.